When you're leasing apartments, the questions that you ask to your prospects are critical. They're vital. They are make break in whether you're going to get that lease or your competitor's going to get the lease. But just as important as the questions that you ask them is how you answer questions when your prospects have questions for you. Hey everybody, I'm Matt Easton, the founder of Leasing University, and today I want to give you 3 quick tips on things that you should be concerned with, 3 quick tips on how to answer renters' questions. These are going to help you move your deals along. These are going to help keep everything positive, and they're going to bring you a lot closer to the lease if you're following these questions. Tip number 1, never, ever, ever, did I make that clear enough? Never, ever, ever withhold information. Back in the days, back in the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s, and just a little while ago, and unfortunately, some communities are still doing this. We were taught with this process of, hey, I think it was a used car salesman that taught us this one. It's bad information. Note to self, there's a lot of bad information out there. Used car salesman person comes in, hey, I'm going to be the new regional manager, and we got a policy here. Somebody asks you about the price, you can't talk about price. Somebody asks you what the availability is, they need to schedule an appointment and come in here, or they need to do this, or the customer has to do this before you give them this. Horrible policy. Never, ever, ever withhold information. If your prospect, whether they're on the phone, whether they're in front of you, whether they're on email, whether they're on chat, whatever it is, if they have a specific question and you have the answer, you do not withhold that information. You give it to them. They're going to find it out anyways. It's called Google, all right? So it's better that they find it out from you so they can get the correct information and not misinformation. Never ask your prospects to do something before you're going to answer their question. What kind of service is that? Now that brings me to my next tip on how to answer questions. And this is something that probably, I want to say, pretty close to 90%. If I had to bet the farm on it, I would say 87, 88% of leasing consultants do this, and it's not the right thing to do. Prospect asks you a question. You don't know the answer. Of course, you don't want to lie to them and you don't want to give them misinformation. I agree with you 100%. Those are both terrible policies. But what most people end up saying, the first thing that comes out of our mouth when we don't have the answer is, I don't know. Terrible thing to say. This is one of the single most terrifying decisions that anyone can make. Selecting a home and moving. Moving is very, very stressful. It's also something where we don't have a lot of knowledge on. We don't have a lot of personal knowledge. We don't move a lot in our lives, so we're not an expert. And it's human nature to fear making a bad decision. Hey, I'm going to make a fool out of myself. My friends are going to laugh at me. I'm going to be in a horrible, horrible apartment. And worse, I'm going to be locked into a long-term lease. So I want to make sure this decision, that none of that happens and that this is a good decision. When they're asking you questions, even if they're a tiny, what time does the pool close? Does it close at 10 or does it close at 10:30? Because I saw 2 different signs. If you don't know the answer, you do not say, I don't know. That's going to cause all kinds of alarms to go off in their brain. What I want you to say is, great question. Let me find out. I will get back to you by X. I will get back to you by 4:30 today on that. I'll get back to you. I'll have it. We'll head down. When we head down to the office, I'll make sure that we answer that before you leave. Hopefully you've got your sword and your shield and you're writing that down. Great question. Let me get you the answer on that. I will have it to you by X amount of time. You need to say this. I can't stress this enough. As soon as you say, I don't know, it causes them to really start to freak out and to really doubt if they're talking to the right person. And you can, let's face it, you can't possibly know everything there is to know about the property. You're always going to get some zingers. Just don't say, I don't know. The last tip that I want to give you, tip number 3, when answering residents' questions, we all want to be right, right? We all want to be an expert. We all want to get the lease. I encourage you to frame your answers to them. You don't need to be the expert gal. You don't need to be the expert guy. What you need to do is you need to get the lease. Give that thunder to your current residents. Hey, so what is the best way to deal with the closet being smaller? It's very easy for you to go, oh, no problem, Container Store. I've got the actual product numbers all written down. They're really cheap. They're $19. They've got this tray system down at the Container Store. I've measured it out. It fits right into the closet. Bam, 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 bam. It's going to give you 3 jars and 3 shelves. I've actually got a picture of it in the leasing office. Frame your response with what other residents have done, what our current residents done, what our other residents have done is they've gone down to the Container Store, and what they found is there's this really neat little tray system. It's only about 19 bucks. I've actually got a photo of it in the office. I can show you what our other residents are using. They love it. It's dynamite. It's fantastic. Why take the credit for yourself? When you do this and you answer a question with what our other residents have done in front of it, is it builds reassurance. It builds trust. People love to be part of the herd. We love to be part of the community. Look at how big social media is. We love it when we hear, oh, this is what everybody else is doing and they love it. Try that one out. Try all 3 of these out. These are great tips for how to answer prospects questions, for how to answer renters questions. If you're looking for more tips, if you're looking for more actionable information, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's all about you. It's all about leasing agents. It's all about leasing apartments. And until the next video, I'm Matt Easton, your friend in leasing and life. Be great and get those leases.